Today we're going to do a really quick overview of the cloud provider integration that Tutela offers. You're going to see two main new functions. Essentially, one is that we're going to have a bit better visibility into our servers that are installed in the cloud, and compliance check. Let's do the simple one first. So if we go to detected assets and cloud assets, which is the new tab right there, you're going to see, in my case, a very simple screen, whichever cloud connection this was set up on, the name that is pulled from the cloud provider of the VM, the private IP and the public IP, along with a rather important column, which is if the Tutela agent has been installed on that server, yes or no. If it's uninstalled, you probably should install it so that you get better visibility into your environment through host-based scans. But the more interesting thing is the compliance checks. So now I have a new tab, which is Cloud Compliance. And essentially what's happening here is that that Tutela is leveraging the cloud provider API to run a series of benchmark compliance checks. So for example, info alerts are the ones that cannot be done through the API and need to be done manually. But then it does a bunch of automatic checks. So let's take an example. Let's go on the ones compliance checks that are in a state of alarm rather than OK or info. And let's pick something a bit easier, like yeah, why not? There seems to be a low-hanging fruit here where most of the alerts are to do with the network watcher should be enabled. By the way, these are the top 25 titles, but a full list of titles can be found over here. But let's go with this. And you can see that, listen, these are all my locations, or the resource that is affected, and you need to ensure that the network watcher is enabled. Network watcher right now is not enabled in WestUS2. And you have a bunch of these different checks that are going on. And once you go through them, so you can also obviously filter by resource. You can see, for example, that over here I don't have that all owners with the following roles is set to owner. So there, when you start going through these, ensure that log activity, etc. This is the resource. Once you start going through them, you will be able to slowly get your environment more and more compliant, which means that it is more and more subscribes to best practice, right? So you'll be able to go through these one by one. Here I have an OK. See, ensure that secure transfer required is set to enabled. So, and the goal is that all these checks go from alarm state to OK state. Setup is very straightforward. It's under agent management. You have this new section here, cloud provider integration. For security reasons, you can't edit one that exists because you have to input some sensitive information. So if I go here and there add cloud provider, you see we support two, Azure and Amazon Web Services. You can give it a friendly name. And once you select one, you're going to get pre-populated JSON settings which are required. So you have the access key, the secret key, and the region. And same thing obviously for Azure. Subscription ID, tenant ID, client secret. So yeah, that's about it in a nutshell. Pretty straightforward, but very useful.